Good day and welcome to the KVV Training Centre. Today we'll be looking at the difference between sectional title and freehold properties. We find many times that a lot of our clients are confused between the two and don't really understand the difference between sectional title and freehold. So in order for us to understand what sectional title means, let's look first at freehold and then we will look at the distinguishing factors between the two different types of properties. Freehold property firstly means that you own the stand or the erf as it's known in Afrikaans, and it's also registered as an erf in the deeds office. This means that you own the land plus all the buildings that's built on it. The important thing to note here is it doesn't matter whether the land is vacant or whether there's a mansion built on it, you actually own the land. The land is depicted on the general plan, which was first registered when the township was established in the deeds office. Usually a developer will buy a piece of land, which is usually at the time farmland, and will then establish a township on the piece of land, which divides it into different portions, which will then be known as a stand or an erf. A freehold property is usually a loose standing house, as is depicted on the picture here. It can be, as we just said, derived from a general plan when the township was established. It can also derive from a subdivision. If there was a bigger portion of land that was subdivided into smaller portions, then that will also still be a stand and that will still be freehold property. As you can see from our little sketch here, this is an example of a subdivision diagram where a bigger piece of land was subdivided into smaller portions as well as an entrance portion and a common property portion in the middle, which will be your roadway or pathway to what will then probably be a little small estate. Freehold property is usually also estates. That's your bigger type of estates where you will still have a big stand registered in your name. So an estate usually has a boom gate in the front that allows visitors and residents to come into the estate and will usually then be governed by a homeowners association, which will govern the estate and the rules and regulations within the association. However, if it's still registered as a stand or an erf in the deeds office, it will still be a freehold property. As opposed to freehold property where you own the stand or the erf, in a sectional title you will own the unit or the section. A freehold property was registered in terms of a general plan or a subdivision diagram, whereas sectional title will be registered in terms of a sectional title plan drafted in terms of the Sectional Title Act. The biggest difference between freehold property and sectional title is in a freehold you own the erf or the stand and whatever is built on it, whereas in sectional title you own the building only. In other words, you own whatever is built between the four walls of your section. You also own an undivided share of the common property, so all the owners in the scheme have an undivided share in everything that's not within their section, but they are the sole owner of their section only. The easiest way to understand sectional title is to look at where it originated from. Like we said, in freehold property, you own the stand or the land and whatever is built on top of it. So if a developer, like in our picture, built a block of flats, it would be impossible to register each and every flat into the name of the owner, as all the flats are obviously built on one stand. Before the Sectional Title Act came in, it was registered as a share block, in other words as a company, and each owner of a flat would then actually be the owner of shares like in a company. This was obviously not an ideal situation, and therefore the Sectional Title Act came in to make it possible to divide a piece of land or the building on a piece of land into sections, and therefore sectional title. That would allow, in terms of the Sectional Title Act, the owner of each flat to be registered separately and hold their own title deed in the deeds office. Later on, it also became common practice for developers to register a complex as a sectional title scheme. In other words, when a developer buys a piece of land, instead of having to subdivide the piece of land into smaller portions, which would still be registered as an earth in the deeds office, the developer could simply open a sectional title scheme on the piece of land and still be able to register each unit in the name of the owner in a separate title deed. Now let's look at the various differences between sectional title and freehold. The first important difference is the legislation in terms of which it is registered. Freehold properties are registered in terms of the Deeds Registries Act of 1937, whereas sectional title properties are registered in terms of the Sectional Title Act of 1986. Freehold properties used to be registered in terms of the Township's Ordinance of 1986. Of course, both freehold and sectional title properties are now impacted by SPLUMA. In terms of SPLUMA, each municipality will have their own bylaws determining how they will approve the registration of either sectional title or freehold properties. The second important difference between ownership is how the properties are governed. If you have bought a unit in a sectional title complex, you automatically become a member of the body corporate. The body corporate consists of all the owners in the sectional title scheme, which collectively form the body corporate. The body corporate will have a set of management and conduct rules that all the owners in the body corporate must adhere to, and these rules are enforced by the trustees. If you bought a freehold property, you might think that you have no such rules applicable to you. However, this is not the case, as you are still subject to the bylaws of the particular municipality within which jurisdiction the property falls. If you have bought in an estate where there's a homeowners association, regardless of the fact that you have an earth registered in your name, you will still have to abide by the conduct rules of the homeowners association. A homeowners association may also have building rules which you need to abide by. Another very important difference between the two types of ownership is insurance and risk of ownership. If you're an owner in a freehold property, the full risk of ownership is yours. In other words, you are responsible for all repairs and maintenance on the property, and you as the owner are responsible for the homeowner's cover insurance on your property. So if anything happens to your property, it will be for your account and you need to claim it from your own insurance. If, however, you're an owner in a sectional title complex, the body corporate insurance covers the structure and common property. In other words, if there's something that happens to your unit on the outside, then that will be covered by the body corporate's insurance, and you will contribute to that insurance by payment of your levy. You as the owner, however, do remain responsible for the inside of your unit. As an owner of a freehold property, you will have to pay your rates and taxes to the municipality, as well as your utilities, that's your water and electricity consumption. As we just said, you will have to pay your own insurance, and also if you are a member of a homeowners association, you will have to pay levies to the homeowners association as well. A sectional title owner still need to pay rates and taxes to the municipality. A sectional title unit will still have to be registered at the municipality and pay its own rates and taxes. You will also still be charged for your utilities, which may or may not be included in your levies, and then always you will have to pay a levy to the body corporate. The levy will be there to charge for all the communal expenses of the body corporate that needs to be collected from all the owners collectively. So the question that we always get is, how do I know whether my property is sectional title or freehold? The answer is quite simple. You look at the deed search. Your deed search or your lightstone will tell you whether it's a sectional title or freehold. Make sure that your property is correct as disclosed in the offer to purchase, as this is a very important element to the offer to purchase. And lastly, make your buyers aware of costs or levies and rules that may be applicable to your sectional title units as well as homeowners associations. Important to note is it's not a choice whether you buy a sectional title or freehold property. It is what it is. It's registered as such in the deeds office, and therefore it is either freehold or sectional title. You cannot choose to describe it as one or the other. Thank you very much for joining our training on sectional title and freehold. If you have any further questions, anything that you want to know about sectional title or freehold, or if you're unsure whether your property falls under sectional title or freehold, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.